if you're not familiar with retro achievements, so as you can see from their tagline here, adding achievements to retro games since 2012. So what do? They provide a service that allows you to add achievements, kind of like how you have achievements on Steam or on Xbox, or I know PlayStation calls their version trophies. It allows you to add these achievements to retro games, hence the name Retro Achievements. So typically this works by working inside an emulator. So the emulator basically is tied to Retro Achievements, which is both a platform in addition to being the website. And so you unlock achievements on the Retro Achievements platform itself, and the emulators connect to... Oh, here we go. So they even provide the emulators here, and it looks like a lot of stuff just works on RetroArch. But so you play the game on the emulator, and you find the specific game, and then you unlock achievements as you play on Retro Achievements here. So, you know, if you're a big, if you're someone who's big on achievements, I've never really cared about achievements. I just play for fun. But you know, if you're the kind of person who likes these challenges and whatnot, then yeah, you can, you know, use this site, and it's pretty nice. So let's see, and it is like a nice thing if you're into that. Dude says Retro Achievements was one of 2 reasons I still have a Patreon account. Yep. Yeah, I know a lot of people were disappointed with what Retro Achievements did. And actually, Patreon is something that we will be talking about very soon. Wobbly Warlock. Hey, welcome. Welcome, Wobbly Warlock.
The more the magicer.
So Wobbly Warlock says, they provide some, they use the official version for others, Dolphin and PCSX2, for instance. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. I assume Dolphin right now is just for the GameCube support, because I believe Wii support hasn't been added yet. But yeah, that is interesting to know. So they, the official developers would have built that in then. So that's interesting. But yeah, that is a good clarification, so appreciate that. And again, feel free, guys, to provide any extra information from an inside perspective, because I don't actually use the Retro Achievement service, because I'm not an achievement guy, so... I just think this is a very interesting story. They're fun extras to do with the game in case you run dry of your own self-made fun. Yeah. Yeah, that is very true. That is true. Yeah. And yeah, I miss the days when you could make your own fun in video games. I mean, sometimes you can, but yeah, I like that kind of when a game gives you a little bit of a sandbox and you just like run around and have fun with it. Keyword is was. I see. So you're one of the people who dropped their Patreon. Okay, makes sense. That's right. We was meant to happen in March, but it may be delayed because the person who's primarily working on it left. And boy, are we going to be talking about that. I don't know how primarily, just pointing it out. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Any information is always appreciated. Absolutely. You know what? I'll just put this here. Backseating welcome. If you want to. I usually just use this for games, but if you want to backseat drive the React segment, you're welcome to. Yeah, so if you guys, I think you guys are all aware of the basic info by now, but Retro Achievements has completely blown up thanks to the Alphabet Mafia, as it were. The 42%ers have infiltrated Retro Achievements, gotten their brainworms into the founder, and torn it apart. So here's where it all starts. So there is a game called Pokemon Clover. Yep. Every damn time, yep. Gatekeep your hobbies, because it starts with the normies, and then you end up with trannies. Every single time. So it starts with a ROM hack called Pokemon Clover. So, Pokemon Clover here is a basically 4chan themed ROM hack of Pokemon Fire Red, featuring 2 brand new regions, blah blah blah. So the main point of Clover is just to be a parody of 4chan's image board culture and a parody of Pokemon as a whole. So it contains themes and language not suited for the faint of heart, but it's nothing really all that offensive. It really is just 4chan culture, right? It's just goofy shit posting is what this ROM hack is all about. There's a trailer here. You're not going to be able to hear it, but, I mean, it's Pokemon, so there's not going to be a whole lot of, there's not going to be a whole lot of sound to worry about here. So, you know, basically, it's just like Pokemon, except it's got a lot of shit posting in it. Let's see. I think those are your two main characters. Heck, Sandra. Explore the region of 4chan. Conquer the Ebon Islands. Fight powerful new rivals. Rival Edgy wants to battle. From Team Karma. I think we know what website Team Karma refers to. Yeah, how dare they have fun with a ROM hack. Oh. Wait. Not this. Now, I'm beginning to think I should play this game, chat. Because they included King Terry. And the only Pokemon game I've ever really gotten into is Emerald, and that's mostly because it's the only game where you have a dad. But, Sage Terry speaks the truth. If you see a CIA nigger... Oh, you know what, I'll just say it. If you see a CIA nigger, run him over. You run him over with your car. They glow in the dark. Yeah. Terry. We love Terry. We love Terry. New characters, Zap to the Extreme. You guys know who that is, right? You guys know who Zaps to the Extreme? Yeah. They glow, they're easy to see. Also, all praise Temple OS. Yep. I mean, say what you want about Terry A. Davis, but he was something of a genius for sure. So yeah, that is the Pokemon Clover ROM hack. It's literally just goofy shit posting and some old 4chan lolcows and stuff like that. It is absolutely nothing that offensive or crazy. So, just saw that Evangelion alert screen. Yeah, I think I missed it. Oh. Tex-Mex trainer, yeah. Well, you guys know me, I love my Tex-Mex. Yeah, there is a lot of work that clearly went into this. I mean, a full-scale adventure between two regions, 386 monsters, custom soundtrack, custom battle backgrounds, custom Pokeballs, Grand World rich with side quests and secrets. So there's a lot of interesting stuff here. And yeah, so it's a little bit offensive, but it's a very interesting and well-made ROM hack. So what happened? Well, here we go. So, RetroAchievements posts this. And this is in context to Pokemon Clover. So what was happening is they were about to add achievements for this Pokemon Clover ROM hack, because the site doesn't just do official games, they also do a lot of ROM hacks. So they were about to add achievements to Pokemon Clover. Sounds great, right? And a bunch of people raised a stink about it. And let me see if I can find the page. Yes, Temojin was the dev that was working on Clover's achievement set. We do have some info on that, which I will be bringing up. There we go. So yeah, I got a little bit of I got some documentation here too. So initially, after the trannies raised a stink. Actually, let me see if I have a link to the. Here we go. So I think I have a link here to the Retro Achievements page for Pokemon Clover as well. So these are the comments. Wow. Wow, so it looks like they nuked the older comments? Jeez. Well, so as you can see, they have completely removed the game from the site, so this game doesn't exist. Somehow you still have comments and all that. But they're basically acting like the game never existed, so it's been pretty much wiped from the site. Do people not archive? You can archive some of this, so I think I do have an older archive. The problem is that... Yep. So the problem here is that you can get some archives. You can get some older archives here, so... Who's that? But you guys remember the... what the heck? Oh, I missed that. I messed up the link here. So, there we go. So there are some older archives. The problem is that they started using that Cloudflare gate. And so what happens is any newer archives, any newer archive attempts get blocked by that Cloudflare page, which is extremely annoying. Yeah, so yeah, comments, requests, threads, etc. Yep. Yeah, so this is what the page used to look like. And it didn't have achievements, but they did have all the all this information on it. And yeah, it was just, see, you just had people shitposting. Let's see. Pokemon Periwinkle also got taken down. Yep, I got the link for that too. This was... So Pokemon Periwinkle is a similar ROM hack made by the same team, but this one was for, instead of Fire Red, it was for, I believe, a hack of Pokemon Yellow. So, same situation here. The page for it was taken down. But yeah, so you can see Clover used to be here, and now it's just completely gone. And now you just got people very upset in the comments here. And of course, they locked the comments because they're gay. I've given a decent chunk before the game wall got locked to Melee K. I just used PC screenshots. I'm curious what you're talking about here, and if that has anything to do with my, with this Melee K cringe right here that I'm going to be showing you. Yeah, these Pokemon hacks causing all kinds of problems. There are a lot of weirdos when it comes to Pokemon, but it's really not the Pokemon thing's fault. So here's the story. They started off, after all the trannies started crying about, you know, Pokemon Clover. RetroAchievements posts this, saying, okay, here's our stance on content archival, blah, blah, blah. What they're effectively saying is, RetroAchievements has chosen a preservation-focused approach, prioritizing archival completeness over content curation. This means we host achievement sets for games and acts that contain content some community members find deeply offensive. So this is the right approach. This is the based approach. This is what you should do. You should always say, hey, I know you might be offended, but people are allowed to use this, and then just provide like a block or hide feature so that people don't have to see it if they don't want to. And of course you see all these people, some people saying, you know, some people being based, let's go, huge, W, thanks admins, and then you got these other offendatrons going,
good to know RA is committed to the very not political act of platforming hate speech. Glad that got cleared up.
And of course you got, you know, so a lot of people are in support of them doing the right thing, and they were doing the right thing. And you got these people crying about, oh, how hateful does a game need to be? You know, and so after that, you know, things seem good, right? Well, within a couple days, I I want to say this was the next day, but let's see. See, so you got all these people crying, and then of course the head Janny here, the founder Scott, comes and goes. I've locked this thread for the moment as we don't need any discussion about the Pokemon ROM hack. This was to address uncertainty in the user code of conduct, which has been done. Blah blah blah. And so we get another statement. Let's see. This was October 3rd. And I believe... Yeah, so whole thread was October 3rd. So we get a follow-up statement. Same day. And this time they do a total 180. They totally backpedal. And they go... Today we have made an announcement regarding a policy clarification on our user code of conduct. This was met with serious concerns, and we fully acknowledge that we've let the community down by how we handled it. So they say, oh, we're sorry we posted this in Pokemon Clover, and blah, blah, blah. One concern that was brought up regarding our stance as an archival platform not curating games, aside from games that have been deemed illegal, this obviously raised concerns that given our stance, we're also in favor of allowing an edgy Pokemon hack that glorifies hate speech. This obviously goes against our ideal of a retro gaming platform, and we have no intention to ever be associated with hate speech. Effective immediately, achievement development on Pokemon Clover is stopped, and it will not be released on RetroAchievements. So, internally, we're going to discuss how to move forward with content like this in the future. So, they did a complete 180, and they basically let the trannies win. They let the Troons win and walk all over them. And there is... let's see. Now, there is some documentation that the founder, this Scott guy, who locked the original thread here, is in fact a indoctrinated himself as well. Wobbly Warlock says, thing is, it was one of the most requested games for years. Way to turn on your user base. Also, apparently some staff received threats. Yep. They did. So here's an archived Discord message. Let's see if I can zoom in here. So one of these woke people goes in the Discord. I'm not in the Discord, so I'll have her screenshots.
Yeah, let's just ignore the Nazi bar problem that this community has.
And so this Scott guy, the founder of RetroAchievements, goes,
Ooh, like a bar that Nazis go to. I get it now, yeah. I don't want RA to be that.
And of course you have all these soy people soying out and agreeing with him. So, after that, he makes this and does a total 180, completely backpedaling. Timmy. Hey, good to see you, Jerry. You arrived just in the middle of the main event. How you doing?
Welcome, valued customer!
So, yes, he backpedals, and then he makes a second thread after the fact. So, well, first of all, after he makes that thread, the comments and rage continue on Pokemon Clover. So let's go back to the game page. So people are very upset, right? Discussion continues on the Pokemon Clover page. And everyone's still very, very pissed off. And you see people trolling here. J.K. Rowling has problematic views. Please remove all Harry Potter game from the site. It might offend some people. And so everyone's very, very upset. And of course, they come in and then they lock, they lock the page. They lock the comment section because they're a bunch of scared losers.
So this comment wall has been locked while we review comments and take moderation actions in accordance with our code of conduct. This wall is locked for all users while the moderation team addresses code of conduct violations.
Apparently, the guy behind the cutting room floor helped convince Scott. Okay, I'm not familiar with. I'm not familiar, Wobbly. What is the cutting room floor? If you know, if you got any backstory on that, because I'm not familiar with it. Jerry, early weekend start for you. Nice, Jerry. Very nice. Yeah, you should remove those games. Really can't allow such problematic content to linger about. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See, so somebody already made a thread here. Somebody made this thread to remove these problematic games. These very problematic games. This Get Combo guy. I don't know anything about him, but he made this thread. A call to action. Banning Harry Potter games. Allowing Harry Potter games on RetroAchievements gives a platform to a franchise linked to a hateful author whose harmful views on trans individuals perpetuate discrimination. This is not just a matter of personal opinion. It's an issue that affects many in our community. Even just seeing titles of these games can trigger panic attacks or distress for those who feel marginalized or attacked by Rowling's rhetoric. By banning these games, we can create a safer and more inclusive environment that aligns with our values of kindness and acceptance. Let's choose to uplift voices that foster love, not hate. By banning Harry Potter games, we can make a statement against discrimination and support trans rights. It's essential to promote inclusive narratives in gaming, ensuring our choices reflect our commitment to diversity and empathy. Let's stand together for a more inclusive gaming community. This topic is locked. So, they obviously knew the guy was trolling, and they just locked the topic because, you know, they don't like it when you throw their own rules back at them. Okay, so cutting room floor. Oh, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So it's a site that archives cut and unused content in games. The owner has his own thread on the forums. Oh, I did not know the owner was a lolcow. But yeah, now I remember the site you're referring to, Wobbly. I see. So that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't realize it was woke, which, I mean, for an archival site, if somebody running an archival site is woke, that is a serious problem, because it means they're not going to archive things that they think are offensive. And that's half the things that deserve to be archived in the first place. Yeah, stunning and brave, exactly. At least be proper gay, none of that half-assed shit.
Why don't you get some scented candles, nigga? 'Cause you gay!
Exactly. And so somebody makes this troll thread, and then after all of this, the RetroAchievements founder comes in and makes a third thread. Which is, for some reason, not loading. Come on. Come on. Site choking? Chad, I think the site is choking. Bigger. Also, by their own rules, Scarface, Bully, and Manhunt would also be banned since they violate these dumb rules. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they did start banning this stuff after a while. Maybe. No, I think the site was just having a Scott moment. So the site works for me. Yeah. Well, yeah. It just loaded. So yeah, we're good. Yeah, I think the site was just having an issue. So last night, so last night, Scott here posts this, clarifying RetroAchievements goals. So he says, RetroAchievements supports openness and celebrating retro gaming, but we will not provide a platform for games that contain illegal, hateful, or otherwise abhorrent content. So first of all, he says, Pokemon Clover's achievement set has made it clear that neutrality is not enough. So he's speaking like a woke retard to begin with. This decision was not made to placate any particular group.
Shit.
That is complete shit. When we initially approved Clover, we opened dialogue with our community, blah, 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 blah. I don't really care. This policy change reflects our evolving understanding of our responsibility as a platform. When an achievement set is uploaded, it signals that we promote, facilitate, and reward players for experiencing that game. To many, it looks like an endorsement of the game's content. Which is... No. You literally just say, anything is here. I mean, does Twitter endorse anything that is posted to Twitter? No. Do you think Elon Musk endorses half the woke garbage that gets posted to Twitter? So, let's see. Yeah, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Yeah, exactly, Fracture. Just admit you suck the Troon dick. Yeah. And it's not just that. So apparently a lot of these people were getting death threats from the Troons. Which is actually kind of funny because when you think about it, the most likely person that a Troon is going to kill is themselves anyway. So I wouldn't really be too scared about a bunch of Troons coming after you.
Hate speech does not belong on retro achievements. Even when disguised as a joke, it normalizes real-world hate and harms their community. What Pokemon Clover calls humor is hate speech. Retro achievements will not legitimize bigotry by hosting an achievement set for it.
And so now they've added a whole bunch of extra rules to what can be on the site. So illegal content, obviously, that makes sense. If something is illegal, you can't post it on the site. I don't think anybody is against that. Makes perfect sense. Glorified hate speech. Yeah, this is just complete bullshit. Content that intentionally targets individuals or groups based on protected characteristics. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Sexual exploitation, I mean... Okay, glorification of sexual assault, etc. I mean, if it's illegal, obviously, but if it's not illegal, it's fiction, so who cares? Let's see, games that... Okay, extreme or important content. So this is basically just their cop-out. So content that violates community standards, blah, blah, blah. This is just their sort of catch-all, so anything that they want to remove that doesn't fall into these previous three, they can just say, oh, okay, this is abhorrent content. This violates our community standards. So these are the games that were removed so far. 177, Custer's Revenge, which are old games. Custer's Revenge is fairly famous for being weird. And there's not really even a whole lot to see in Custer's Revenge, like it's on the Atari 2600. They removed Pokemon Clover and Pokemon Periwinkle, which are the main ones we're talking about. And then there's these, which I believe are illegal for various reasons. So the Guy Game, Lolita Syndrome, My Lolita. Let's see. They claim our aim is not to censor, which is a complete lie. Complete 100% lie. Yeah, just be patient and wait it out. Wobbly says, yeah, those three are illegal. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. I know the Guy Game is illegal because they have like an underage girl in there by accident. Dude says a true lover did kill Kirk. Oh boy, dude, you're gonna get me off into a conspiracy theory tangent here. Because I don't think he actually did it. I think he's just kind of the useful idiot that they're using for it. And I think someone else probably actually got him. Someone else actually killed Kirk. But yeah, I don't want to go into all the conspiracy theories right now. Whew. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so here's the here's something very interesting. They say, were there threats against RetroAchievements staff? And this claims, no direct threats have been confirmed at this time, and any that might arise would not alter the decisions above. So, listen to that. No direct threats have been confirmed at this time. So remember that. Remember that. So this guy, let's see. There we go. So this developer, who I believe someone in here mentioned is the one who developed the... This is the guy that was working on the Pokemon Clover achievement set to begin with. Temojin. So he says, were there threats against RA staff? No direct threats were confirmed at this time. And so Temojin says, I would like to state that Scott did in fact tell me that staff members were being threatened. This is part of why I dropped the claim. I thought it was an emergency situation. He also told Telly, who is the developer we'll talk about in a little bit, Telly that he was being threatened and he was at risk of being doxxed. Telly has publicly explained this already. I feel this has to be stated because this point is simply misleading. It makes it sound like this never happened because nothing was confirmed. It makes it sound like Telly's explanation wasn't true, which is harmful to his reputation. But the truth is we were both told that staff members were being threatened. In other words, Scott here, and in other words, he's just being incredibly vague here. This Scott guy, the owner, is basically lying now and saying that they weren't threatened by Troons, even though they were. And I do have some information from Telly himself. So, when all this came through, Telly, who is a... he was a major presence on the site, doing a lot of development. And this is the main guy, I believe Wobbly mentioned, was working on Wii achievement support. So he posted a statement on their Discord, which was, of course, deleted by their gay Discord Jannies. But we have a text archive here. And I just want to just give credit where credit is due. A lot of this information I'm getting is coming from Kiwi Farms, but I'm nervous to show Kiwi Farms on stream just because Kiwi Farms is a bit of a doxing site. And so I want to be careful not to dox anybody. And I actually noticed that one or two of the people in the Melee Games community are actually on Kiwi Farms in the thread that I was looking at. And so I don't want to end up doxing them as having Kiwi Farms accounts. Which is... It's not a good idea, by the way. If you join Kiwi Farms, do not use your... any kind of username or information that you use on any other site. Use a totally unique profile on Kiwi Farms. That way you're much harder to dox by... That way, you know, Troons have a much harder time doxing you. So that's just my 2 cents. Yep, that's the guy. Yep, okay. So I am right about Telly. So, Telly says, I'm getting this out of the way since I'm already getting DMs about my disappearance. I left the admin moderation teams and have temporarily left the Discord servers. I cannot support caving into an idiotic vocal minority over doxing, harassment, threats, etc., instead of outright banning them or fighting back. I've said it countless times, it is absolutely no one's business what other people play, and people who want to make it their business can just fuck off. And this guy is clearly based. I don't know much about him, but I like it. So he says, I personally don't give a shit about any of the games in question, but I defend their existence on the site because RetroAchievements is a supplementary service. The implication and accusations that we're supportive of rape, racism, etc. over allowing games that include such things is fucking absurd, and I think is impossible to take seriously. If it's not those things, it'll be something else. The likelihood of a domino effect and ass-kissing is something that I'll have no part of, so good luck with that mess. I imagine the ridiculous UWC reports will also end up working, since all it takes is threatening our staff for people to get their way, and it's incredibly easy to do so. Thanks, Internet. I'll continue doing hash management and maintaining RA patches if allowed, but I believe that will be the extent of what I do. Who knows how long that'll last, though, and I think continuing as a developer is up in the air at the moment. But that could fizzle out and leave no point to me contributing altogether. In the meantime, I'll need the others to take over some other stuff. I'll be in touch soon. For now, I'm taking a break from dealing with anyone. So understandable. Now, for me, I would just quit entirely. I wouldn't even bother doing all this other stuff, but yeah, that's me. So yeah, this poor guy, clearly he was getting harassed and threatened. And he said, don't back down. But clearly the founder of the site is a true sympathizer. So yeah, dude says, Kiwi Farms may also dox you if they decide to turn on you. They are the community equivalent of the One Ring. Yeah, absolutely. It is a very fickle site. It is a very fickle site. So on Telly's own user wall, there were a couple of statements as well. So here it says, thanks folks, I thought the I stand with Telly thing on Discord was funny, but I didn't think it was actually going to start being a thing. I was trying to think of options where everybody wins, but I was busy when the shit show started and couldn't come in until the backpedaling, so I felt like I was too late to do anything meaningful. From what I can tell, most of the admins and mods agree with me, but their hands are tied due to being vetoed by the owner and founder of RetroAchievements. Nothing against Scott. I think his decision to backpedal what the others agreed on was made in a panic over the harassment threats he was subjected to. It's pretty much common knowledge that he has been admittedly hands off the project for the better part of a decade, and I don't think he realized how disruptive his decision was going to be, considering how much the site has grown over the years. He left us in charge of handling and shaping RetroAchievements. If the idiots that threatened him were actually involved with the site, they would know this. The shit that happened was ultimately the result of internet terrorism succeeding, which it obviously shouldn't have. The option for people to completely block, and this is what we really should have. The option for people to completely block certain games from showing up anywhere for them was being discussed, but I left before that conversation went anywhere. I guess it would be similar to how Steam handles it. I don't know if it ended up being on the table, but I personally think it's the only everybody wins solution to this problem, and I believe everybody should be pushing for that so we can try to resolve this. And that's exactly what I was saying, is you should have a block option for games that you don't want to see. But for people who do want it, it should be left alone. It should feel like a community decision. I think there would be too much backlash to drop otherwise, so if people actually want to help, I think they should be encouraging Scott and RetroAchievement admin to head in that direction instead of this attempt at content curation to pacify a bunch of assholes that we'll probably never see again anyway. And again, he's absolutely right. And he had a couple more responses here. He said, a bunch of people think I left/quit, but never said I was going to. All I did was step down from admin moderation and started breaking Discord. Then again, I was still on the Discord with the RHN account. People who know that account is me were posting Rip Telly messages were all I was posting. But yeah, I quit from September to December 2020 over burnout and got tired of dealing with people. My recent step down is due to my refusal to accept, support, and enforce recent decisions that were made. But this is interesting. He says the threats weren't directed at me, they were directed at Scott. I'm incapable of taking people like that seriously. I've gotten death threats here before, and all I did was make it worse by egging them on. See, Wobbly Warlock says, Lady Nadia, another member, has also left her own statement, as well as the bit about X-Keeper. Cutting room floor owner, convincing the owner. Oh, okay, so X-Keeper, I saw some stuff from this X-Keeper guy. So X-Keeper is the owner of Cutting Room Floor. Interesting. Yeah, so let's go here, and I'll show you Telly's user profile. So there's been a lot of activity here. There's been a lot of activity here. Let's see. So first off, there was a message from, and I will get to the lady on. Here we go. So Temojin is here again, and he said, "Oh, hi, dude. How you doing, dude?" we found our friend dude here. So Temojin says, just in response to Scott's new announcement, I would like to state that he also told me staff members are being threatened. He didn't just tell Telly. This is part of why I dropped the claim. Okay. And this is just a rehash of what he said here. We were both told staff members were being threatened, and Telly was told that Scott was at risk of being doxxed. I will continue to appeal the ban in the future. I believe this decision is too one-sided, and a compromise is needed for such a polarizing and divisive issue in the community. Fair enough. Right. Oh yeah, and of course, this topic got locked again. Because of course they did. They lock anything where they might see disagreement. Yep, I've said a few things on Tully's user wall. Okay, nice, yeah. Well, dude, I know you're based because we hang out on the community. And Tully here responds a little bit. I don't think the situation is going to be resolved anytime soon, which is true. I've seen a lot of shit shows over the years. It's bleak right now, but I think we'll get past it. Meantime, I'm planning to set up a side server. Since advertising would be a big no-no, I'll probably send invites. Okay, that's nice. We need a better place to communicate. That's very nice. Now, unfortunately, he does say, I've invested too much time into RetroAchievements to pull any shenanigans that will jeopardize that. I'm still our RetroAchievements' biggest contributor across the board, which I think is a bad idea. You know, you really should just abandon, in my opinion, you should just abandon RetroAchievements. Just let the platform die due to its own censorship. Yeah, this guy's spot on here. The slippery slope argument is not a fallacy when it comes to censorship. And yes, it is a form of censorship. Absolutely. Absolutely, because you see it, as he said. What started with Clover has already impacted other games, and more will likely follow. And then, as Warlock pointed out here, where'd it go? Wait, did it get deleted while I was browsing? Huh. Oh, here we go. So this lady Nadia, who was a developer, another member, sorry. So she says she's appalled by the announcement and how they completely denied any threats happened. That is such an obvious lie when I definitely saw him publicly posted in one of the now nuked threads. I don't feel comfortable contributing in a community where gaslighting is going to happen, people can harass, threaten, and get their way, and harassers walk away with a slap on the wrist. I don't care about certain games getting banned, even though I'm very against censorship and feel it only draws more attention. That's fine. Yeah, I'm not sure if I wish to continue to contribute to RetroAchievements. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can fully agree with that. And she's not the only developer either. So I have another archive here. Let's see. Another archive, and yes, this is Blue Sky, so I know, but... So, this developer... Oh, they haven't deleted it. Yes. So, this person posts about another disgruntled achievement developer who quit. So, this guy says, shy this. He says, been working on quietly on sets for just over 200 games, totaling near 3,000 achievements. Based on this BS, I've decided to cease development, delete all work and backups, as well as my account. And this guy's account says it joined in 2016, so he's clearly been around a long time. So the staff of this website have shown that they're very willing to throw out hours and hours of work because of whining from less than 50 people. What is the point of putting any effort into creating achievements when staff can just destroy it all on a whim, based on whining from people that, one, were never going to play it, and two, have absolutely zero problem with thousands of games on here that feature rape, murder, theft, incest, pedophilia, etc. Absolutely. And so, yeah, he says, there's no point in contributing to the site when any second anything you do could be undone and banned on a whim. Been working on these for just over 2 years. Many are for highly requested games, so the admins have made it clear this is no longer a site worth putting effort into. Recommended it to literally thousands of people through my YouTube. Can no longer do so in good faith. Wow, what's next? Ban achievements for Metal Gear because it glorifies government cover-ups. Ban Tomb Raider for glorifying colonization. Where does it end? I'll be deleting my account ASAP and saying goodbye to the site. It's simply not worth interacting with anymore. And this guy followed through. So if I go to his user profile, it's gone. It's gone. It's not found. So another guy deleted his account right there. Wobbly Warlock says, the problem is that sometimes I put in more effort than official devs, like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection, 1 achievement per game or so compared to 40 in one game, so a lot of users won't be willing to leave. Yeah, I understand that. I understand if you're really into the achievements, but I mean, I'm saying as a developer, not even necessarily as like a user of the achievements, but as a developer, personally, I would say take the route of that Shy This guy. Just stop. Just stop contributing. Don't support a platform that hates you. Yeah, exactly, Fractured. RetroAchievements is crashing and burning due to trannies. And that is why the thumbnail for this stream was a giant dumpster fire with RetroAchievements and Discord in it. The only thing it was missing was a tranny flag. But I put that in the stream title. Well, I put the gay flag because the tranny flag doesn't always render where it's supposed to. And by the way, I want to point something out here. In spite of the games that were deleted, this game still exists with all its achievement sets. And I am absolutely not saying that I want it banned, but it's curious that this exists. Dude says this entire project is open source, so it can easily get forked. Interesting. I wonder what the license would be on that. Because, so if the site is... I don't know how the... they have 2 codes of conduct. That is super gay. Okay, here they have a GitHub. Okay, it's all GPL3? Yeah, then yeah, you actually probably could fork it, couldn't you? You would just have to run the platform itself on your own. But yeah, it's not a bad idea. Yeah, so this game exists. This game is still around. And what this game effectively is it's a grooming simulator. So, you are basically given this little girl, and you raise her into an adult. And I believe one of the endings is you end up marrying this girl. So that is a bit... and doing other things with her. So that is questionable. And somehow this game is still allowed. In other words, they endorse this kind of thing. And look, again, I am completely anti-censorship. I don't actually want this taken down, just to be clear. You know, it's not to my taste, but that doesn't mean no one else should be able to enjoy their fiction. So it is really curious that this game has like a full achievement set, and it's allowed on. But they banned Pokemon Clover, of all things. And you can see the comments here. Oh, goodness me. This game has a claim and a subset? Oh my goodness word. If only people knew what kind of sensitive material was in this game. I sure hope the admins don't find out. And of course, these people know when they're being called out. So this Liz Star person, who is another developer. And of course, as we all know, there's a lot of crossover between software developers, trannies, and we know there's a lot of crossover between trannies and pedophiles, which is probably why this game is totally safe on the website, because trannies, for some reason, often turn out to be pedophiles. And so they're probably fine with this. So yeah, this person knows they're being called out. Like he says, excuse me, shit stirrer? With recent developments, I just thought it was prudent that people should know the subject matter that is actually contained within this game. I mean, there are imagery of extremely underage princesses in this game. And let's not even talk about some of the endings. Does Retro Achievement endorse these things? Should I really name the extreme things that lie in within? Is that annoying? Yeah. Yeah, this got mentioned in the forums thread. Yeah, I think so. I think I saw that. There is a weird correlation, Fractured, isn't it? Isn't there?
Well, imagine my shock.
Curious. Let's see here. So we got that. Yeah, and so this stuff still exists. Oh, I didn't even see the comment here. This entire thing has been an absolute embarrassment by the site runners and community, bunch of insane people. That might be the best summary of this entire situation I've seen. And by the way, beyond this, I did want to point out something interesting here. So if you look at the Patreon for the site, as Dude so kindly pointed out, he dropped his Patreon subscription, and he is not the only one. So if you look at this, if you look at their Patreon subscriptions, and this only lets me drill down into 1 month, as far as I can tell. But if you look here, from around the time they announced it, they've gone from 899 paid members to 854. Now that number's increased and gone up and down, 867 now. But that clearly means that people have gotten upset and dropped their Patreon subscriptions. It's not a huge amount, but it is a decent amount of people who have quit. Like our friend Dude here. So, it is affecting the site. There is a problem here. So, and RetroAchievements, if it keeps going down this route, I think they're only going to see more of this happening. And while I was while I was browsing through the Kiwi Farms thread, somebody found an interesting post on the Discord from Melee K's alt account. So Melee K's alt account here posts, "How long has this been going on for, LMAO? 8 hours ago I was having some me time with my sweetheart, spoiler picture, as I like to do every Friday." And this is the spoiler picture. So, you know, I can't believe Melee K is so involved with this, but I guess this does explain what she was singing on the Gifted Games Gallery last week. Just to be clear, by the way, I'm shitposting this is not actually Melee K, but you should absolutely give her a hard time about it because it's really funny. Yeah, that just made me laugh. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. Time to turn to lurker mode. Alright, well, thanks for hanging out in chat, dude. Always appreciated that. Dare you lie? Oh, could you? Yeah. Well, you know, I can always play your favorite song, Fractured. Yeah, Fractured's over here thinking...
Can't believe I shaved my dick for this.
Good. No? You don't want to...
We're breaking the law, breaking the...
You don't want that? Yeah, so RetroAchievements is basically going down the toilet. They have completely bombarded user trust here. They've shown that they are willing to censor not only the achievement sets and games themselves. I have to remember who I'm being snarky with. Oh yeah. Oh, I got clips all over the place, man. I got so many clips. But yeah, so RetroAchievements has shown that they are absolutely no longer a trustworthy platform. They are completely willing to censor not only the games themselves with the achievement sets, but they're also willing to censor comments. They're willing to come out and lie about what's going on, like this situation here where they lied about the threats. They're willing to nuke comment sections, and yet they're willing to keep things like this up, which seem to contradict a lot of what they're talking about. So yeah, the RetroAchievements drama is very, very disturbing, and I don't have confirmation, but supposedly they have been banning users as well, simply for complaining about this. So yeah, this site is going downhill fast. And yeah, Warlock says hopefully a better alternative pops up. I would hope so. I don't know though. I don't have a lot of faith because there are two problems even if the code is open source. One is you would have to have hosting. That is one of the big things. You need a way to host all of this information. You need a way to host all the information for the platform, which is, I mean, basically you have to have someone willing to pay for all that, right? The second problem is you would need to actually get the users to migrate over because their old achievements are still sitting on this platform, and I don't know if there would be an easy way to get them out. Because the platform might be open source, but I'm guessing that the user data is not publicly available in, like, the user database is not publicly available. So you have two issues there. Oof. Yep. Yeah, hosting is the big problem. And also, yeah, and I forgot about this one too, and you're absolutely right, Fractured. Hosting is a big problem, and also RetroAchievements is tied into a lot of emulators for support. So, I don't know exactly how it works. There may be some way to simply swap out a URL and be done with it. But yes, if it's like hard-coded into the emulator, you might have to make a fork of the emulator or download the source code or whatever it may be, and go in and manually modify that and then recompile the entire emulator, which most people are just not willing to do. So, yeah, it is torpedoing itself. It is a complete mess. And I hate to say it, but I hope to see it collapse. Because this is what happens when you don't gatekeep your hobbies. Because, and I think I might have showed this the other day. Let's see. 600, there we go. So, go away. So, if you're not familiar with this comic, Degradation of a Fan Base / Hobby, this is pretty much what has happened and what always happens with any hobby, by the way. This happened with comics, it happened with Star Wars, it happened with it's happening with Warhammer, it looks like. We're seeing the beginnings of it happening in anime, and now it's happened to RetroAchievements. Warlock says you could use a script. That's how Archipelago gets emulated games on BizHawk to work. Okay, I'm not too familiar with that, Warlock, but interesting. Yeah, I think it would just depend on the platform, though. You know, whether you're going with something like PS2 as opposed to something older. Ah, yes, the most truest comic out there. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Fractured. It's been an anime for a good while. It's just like many starting to implode. Well, sort of. It's been with the localizers, but in terms of Japan itself, we're seeing this on the normie end of this. So we're seeing the early end here. So it starts off with, let me see if I can open the image here. Yeah, there we go. So initially you get hobby started with close friends, kept in the circle. Then, new people start joining, and then people who are not familiar with it start joining, who are not as, that's this brown person here. People who are not as familiar with it and they don't really feel pressured to actually properly participate in the hobby. And here, pink is the tipping point when women join. This is when it starts becoming normie slop. And this is where anime is. Anime right now is in this stage. Well, it's in this stage and the following stage. So the hobby is here where you have all these women who are just here for attention, not here for the game. And here she distracts the non-core members, largely impedes the whole process. For anime, this is where the stage is. It's in the stage of women joining for attention, and dude bros and alphas see the typical kind of guy that plays the game, feels he's better than them, and feels he could attract the girls who are there for attention. He's also not there for the game, but he's worse than the girl. He will likely call people nerds and tryhards, even though he's in their community. So it's this and the previous stage, roughly where anime is. It's the normie slop. It hasn't, in terms of what actually is put out from Japan, Japan is seeing these normies coming into the hobby, and they're going, hey, all these normies are a huge audience. And this is how it started with Marvel and DC and Star Wars. The companies that run these things think, hey, we have a huge mass audience potential here. We can make so much money if we just start catering to normies. And so they cater to the normies here. And so the hobby starts dying. And these are the stages where it becomes ripe for tranny takeover. So the Truans will show up, and then everything gets completely butchered. Completely and absolutely butchered. And then everyone who originally loved the hobby will have to quit and go make up their own hobby. And so this is where anime is going, and where Marvel, DC, Star Wars, everything else kind of is. And this is what we just saw with RetroAchievements, is the hobby was joined by people who were not actually into the hobby. The normies showed up and started normifying it. And then the trannies took over. The only thing this is missing is the Troon part of it, which is a bit of a newer development. So the Troons showed up and completely ruined the hobby. So that's what happened. So we see it time and time again. So if there's one message I have, any message I have from the RetroAchievements meltdown, from everything else, gatekeep your hobbies, and don't just gatekeep them from Troons. Gatekeep them from normies, because the normies will bring the Troons in inevitably, because that is what normies do.